Alright, so welcome to part 2. So this is what we left off from part 1. So in part 2 we will initialize the data, add a cut, add new list, and update the list title. So for that data, first I'm going to create a folder called utils. And inside here I'm going to create the file called store.js, which I'm going to paste all my data here. So this is the data. So we can see here we have each card will have the card ID, and then we have the data, the list, and a list is an object that have the list one, and then we have a card. First off, I'm going to use with only one list, and also list ID here we're going to use only one list as well. Alright, so for that set we initialize the data is finished. Now I think I will initialize the data. It's not yet. First, we're going to import the data to here. So const data set data equal to use state, and for this one we're going to import store from the utils /store. Now we're going to put our store inside here. Then for this one we're going to loop over the list ID, and then we render our list. So for that we're going to data.listid.map. Then each of this one will have its own list ID. So it's a list ID, and then we're going to return this list right here. So now if we go back and see here, it's still the same things. Then inside the list here we will pass the list ID in here. So what we want is to fetch the list, the particular list. So because we have list ID 1 here, we want to get the object right here, and let's pass it to the list. So for that I'm going to remove this one, and then I'm going to const list equal to data.list /list ID. So when we're doing this, we will go into data.list, and then we grab the list ID that we have here. Now we get the list. So and then what we wanted to do is we want to return the list right here with the list here as a props passing into the list. Great. So now, and when we loop, we usually want to create put the key as well. So I'm gonna put the list ID right here. So now everything is the same things. So we're not changing anything yet. So now let's go to our component, go to list, and inside our list here, we will have the list. It's a small list, and then instead of doing 3 card right here, we're going to loop the list.cut. So as you can see, when we pass our list, we have the cut right here, which can contain all of these objects. So for that, we're going to list the cut, and then we map, and then we put each individual cut, and then we're going to pass the cut. We're going to return the cut. So for that I'm going to use this one. So then we do cut. If we go back, everything is still the same because we loop 3 times in this one right here. But and then this one we need a key as well. Key will do cut.id, because each card right here, it has its own ID here. So and then also the title as well. We're going to put the titles as the list.title. Oops, list.title right here. So now as you can see, because we have a list title, I have to do that. And now in the title, let me go to the title first. And in here I'm going to get the title as a props, and then I'm going to put the title here. So the value here is going to be the titles, And this one right here, not instead of to do, we pass title in here. So if we go here, the same as to do, it's working. So if I change here, let's say to done, so you can see the done right here. So now change this one back to do. Alright, so now we finish our titles. Now let's go to cut, and cut here we're going to pass each individual cut into the cut itself. Then go to cut, we're going to have this cut right here. So each cut of this one will have its own cut.content. So cut.content. So before here you see all the making YouTube video, but when I save, now you can see the different here. Alright, so now we initialize the data already. So we go ahead and take this one, and now we push it to the GitHub. Now git add git commit -m. So I'm gonna copy this one, and then we go ta-da, then we finish, and we git push. Alright, so now we want to add the card into the list. So see here, we want to click this one, and then we are about to click add card, and let's go to the list, like this one. Hello. Oops, this one. Alright, so for that, we're going to go into the card, into the list, and go into the card here. So the list here, we have input the container. So input container here, we have our input card, which render the input base that we want here. So for this one, let's see, this here, so this is our input card right here. So what we want is to track the value that we going on change. So right now, when we type this one, we want to keep track of the value, which is input base right here in the input card. So for that, we're going to create the on change. This one is going to be handle on chain. So in this, create the function handle on chains equal to this one, and then we have e here. So now what I need to do is to keep track of this one. So I'm gonna create a state, like cut title, cut content, cut title. Yep. And then we say we should, this one like cut content, or title should be fine. Set cut content. I think I should, but cut title is better. Cut title, and then set cut title equal to use state right here. So first thing first that we need to do is to give the value of this one into the cut title, which is null. If we want to type something, it's not going to, will it happen? So the value is input base of this one. The value is going to be a cut title here, which is null. Now if we try to type, there's nothing here, unless we create our function handle here, handle on chain here. So when we on chains, what we got to do is to set the cut title here, going to be e.target.value. Okay, so now if I go here, if I type, it's good. Now what we want to do is to, when the user is on click on this one, we're going to submit it and add the card into our list. So, but our data is in this one, so we have to pass this one to down into the list using the contact API that we're going to use. Alright, so for that I'm going to create the store API, store APIs.js. So for this one I'm going to import React. So it's like a contact API, then we can reference it to our entire application. So export default react.create context null. Alright, perfect. So now inside our app, we should import this one. So I import store API from the util/store API. Perfect. Now I need to wrap this store API dot provider. It should be bigger. It's like it's a component, so it's a lower uppercase. Provider. Perfect. So now what we want to do is to pass the add card into this one. So I'm going to create a function called add more card equal to, we going to first, let's say create, we pass the title first, card title, and then let's just console.log the title. Then what I need to do next is to, I think if I do this one, I think we shouldn't use this one for our API. I think, let me show you what's the reasons. First thing first, we're going to pass this one into our input card. Then when we on submit, when this button is on clicks, we want to set up the list. We want to add the card into the list, but we want to know which list that we are in. So yeah, I think this is possible. Alright, great. So now let's try to pass this one. So I'm going to give the value this one. Let's say add more card here. Perfect. So inside input card here, first we're going to change when the button here is on click. So I'm gonna this one and handles btn confirms, and then const handle btn confirms. So then we're gonna use store our contact. So store. So we're gonna destructure this one. Add more card equal to use contact from store API. Store API right here. Perfect. So now what we want to do is to add the card here. We're gonna pass the card title, pass down to here. So, and when we want to this one, we want to set open to fall as well. No, it's set open to fall. Now if I try to console.log here, so don't mind this one. So let's say hello. If I click, so we can see we passed the hello back, which is cool. In here we know the title of this one, but there's some problem. So now we have the title, right? But we want to add the card into our store right here, but we have to know which list that we are in. So for that we have to pass alongside with the list ID. So where can we get the list ID from? So in here we can see that we can get the list ID from here. So what we can do, we can pass the list ID into the card right here. List ID equal list ID list.id, and then each card will have the list ID, which we don't want to put in the card here. Actually, we want to pass it into the list container right here. List input container, and then inside our list input container, we will have a list ID, which is a lot of way to pass a prop, but then we're going to pass in here a list ID here equal to list ID. Perfect. So now as we go to our input card right here, we have be able to get the list ID right here. list ID. And then we can send along with the list ID pass back into the apps. And outside our app, we can get the list ID. Then let's console.log the list ID as well. Now if I go back again, I say hello, or click, we can see that we have the list title, and then the list ID, and then the title of the card. So now we need to write the logic to add the card into the list. So for this one, the first thing first that we need to do is we're going to use the list ID, new card ID. So for that, I'm going to use the UUID. So I'm import v4 of I think it's like from UUID, and then we do v4 as UUID. So then we can use this one. So we're gonna do equal to UUID v4. I think just this one. So let's console.log the new card ID, because I'm not sure it's working or not. Alright, so we open here, I add the card, so hello. And if I click, so perfect. So now we get the ID. So because we want to be ID is unique, so we will use this one, and we don't want, because this one generates the new ID. So then we're going to create a new card, which is the new card here. As you can see, it's an object with the ID and the content. But I think I'm going to change this one to title. So for easy, it makes sense. The title, and then we have to change one more. You know, where is it, right? So inside the list here, we pass the card, and inside our card, it's going to be card.title. Oops. Now, if we can see, everything still works the same. Perfect. Now we go back to our apps. We get a new list. We get ID equal new card ID, and then we have a title, which I'm using ESX here. We get the title right here. So now we create a new card already. The next things we need to get the list, all of the list from data.list/list ID, which we get our current list, the list that we're working on. So and then we want to list here .card, list.card equal to, we get the previous list.card, and then we add the new card into this one. So as you can see, inside our list we have the card, which is the array of this card, and then in here we use spread operator to get all the previous data, and then we add the new card inside here. Now our list will have to contain the new card. So next things we're gonna update the state. So by the way, if you don't update the state, it also works. It shows you, but it's not like it's not good to do, because in the state it's not working. So if you can see, right click, nothing happening, really. Okay, I'm wrong there. Alright, so next we have to update the state. So we're gonna spread our data, and then we go into the list, and then we're gonna spread data.list. We're gonna get every list inside this one, and then we're going to update our list here. We can say the list ID, and then with the list that we are here. So now we want to set data into the new state. So perfect. So now if I go here, I call hello. If I click, now we see hello is being added. So if I click here, hello again, let's add it. So perfect. So now what we don't want is we have to clear this one after it submit. So for that we have to go to input card, and then after it's on is this one clicks. So we want to do is to set card title into null. Now again, if I click hello, click add, we have this one, and then it will change this one as well. Perfect. And also we want to check if this one, if they on blur, we all want to change this one as well. So on blur here, I'm going to create another function for this one called on blur. So handle blur, not blue, blur equal to this one. And so we're gonna do is to set open false. We want to close that one, and then we want to set the card title to null. Perfect. And then we're gonna change this one around here, and the card title right here. Oh no, handle on blur. Perfect. Now if I say hello, if I click this one, it should be changed, and also unclose this one as well. Unclose. It's open. It's okay. Perfect. Because basically when you type this one, when you click this one, it's like on blur. So it's like it's called as function. Now we be able to add card. Now I'm going to read me. Now we perfect. So now we finish this one. Git add. Git commit. Ta-da! Finish. Add card to list. Now we git push. Alright, so next things first, we need to add the new list. So as you can see here, it's add another list, but this component here is the same as this one. So we just copy from the card here, and then we're going to change things around a little bit. So for that component, we're going to go to state. I think let's do this. So I think it beside from our apps, the list add another list here is alongside with this one. So for that I'm going to, because it's an input, so I'm going to create an input here, input container, which is going to be right here. So now if we go back, we can see this one right here, which is really long. So what we don't want us to do is we're going to create a class name of this one equal to root. No, classes dot root. No, we don't want to import you. So we're gonna do some styling here. Import make style from / no, material UI core / style. Perfect. Now we're going to have some styling. So can use style equal to make style here, and then seams this one. Then we're gonna classes. Nope, we got to return as an object. So we have a root, but first let's create the classes and use style. Alright, so now perfect. So what we want to do is to display as flex. So now we can see it's perfect. But some weird reason this one it didn't style too well. It's not well enough. So what we have to do is to add the width of this one to 80 pixels. So now as you can see, it's the width in here, and in here it might not be the same. I think it's go to 300. It's perfect, I guess. Alright, 300. So now we can see we got this one right here. So, and then we don't want to have the margin tops. Oh, we should do a margin top 1. so then it's aligned with this one as well. Alright, cool, perfect. And now what we want to see is that we want to change this one, add card here, to add a list. Instead of add card, we change this one to add a list. So inside our input container, what we could do, we pass the type to it, to type this one. So like first, let me do this first. I'm going to create a high of this one to be 100 VH. So mean high of this one, which I'm give it the background green. So then we easy to see this one. So now what we need to do is we tweak this one around here. So the add card here. So for that, I'm going to pass the props as a type. Let's say type equal to list in here. So inside input container, we be able to okay, I see. So this is where the things begin to. So we want to add this one, and then because we don't have the list ID input, actually what we need to do is to put the list ID into this one. Okay, that's okay, I think. Types, and now we pass the type here equal to types. So now we know the type is a list. So inside input card, so we're gonna change this one right here. So we have the type right here. So let's say we're gonna change this one. Oops. So we say types equal to list. If the type equal to card, so this is the placeholder should look like. But if the type is equal to card, it should equal enter list title. And then we spread this one. Now if we go back, we can see our placeholders now enter list title. And then we're going to change this one also. And then you could create another component, but I find this one a little, I kind of like this way, so that's why I go with this one. So we're gonna do add list, and then this one should be a string. Now you can see we add the list, and the last things that we have to change is inside our container as this one. So type equal to cut is plus this one. Then else we're gonna plus add list. I believe this should be add another list. Another list. I forgot to close this one. Give me okay, perfect. So now we can see this one has the same. But there's a problem right here, which you can see. Because inside our list here we have input container, we should pass the type this one into equal to cut. And now we have here is the add cut. This one is an add list. Perfect. So now what we have to do is to doing the same things, but inside our input card here we should change this card title to be just the title, because it can't be a title of the list or title of the card. So for that reason, so that's why we're gonna change this one here. Control E and then we have the title. Perfect. And let's see, card title here should be the title. Okay. So now what I want to do is to the title. The value should be a title, and I think it shouldn't be. Now let's see if I be able to change this one hello. So now it's not good. It's not set this one. Haha. Set title. Set title, and then the title here. So that's kind of weird. So let's say why it's not working here. I think maybe because of the naming convention, so I'm not changing this one to title. I think it's like let's say fine, just put it like a cut title. I think if we do this, everything is still working, but hello, I put not working. Not working. The cut title here is not working. Aha. So what is the reasons behind this thing? So let's go in here. Let's console.logs our this one title and the list ID here. So now if I open this one, and then I should change hello. Oh, the title I haven't passed into here yet, so that is weird because I clearly set the cut title in here. So let's do console.log cut title. As you can see, it changed, but when it's passed, it did not have this one. I think maybe the reason is because of the type right here. Nah. Alright, let's do this. If types is equal to cut, we will do this one. So I think it's not of this problem, but it just didn't return. It's not past the title in here. What could be the reason between these ones? So what I think maybe is our relate to our API context right here. No, I don't think it's because of API context. I think because the state is changing. So let's see. In our console. Alright, so it's good. It's good bugs. I like this one. Pass the title. Input cut. Here we have the cut titles, and then the value is cut title. When we on blur, we set this one to 4. I guess because of this one. Let's see. Hello. I see. Because there's a reason is because when I on blur, it's gonna set it to false, so which it's troublesome. So we don't have to then. It's on blur, still the same state, save the state from this one. So let's see. There's something that I want to check. Okay, it did not share the state from this one. Perfect. So now it's good to go. Alright, great. So good luck. So then for that reason, I'm not using this one. Then we can use this one just in one line. Then we can set open to 4. Perfect. Next we have to, alright, so now we add a new list. So add a new list. We're going to inside our input card right here. So we have to check if the type of it is equal list or card, else the type is going to be card or list. So beside from that, card is going to be a list. So we're going to do add more a list. The same thing, the card titles. This one I'm going to change the title, this one into the title only. And this one should be uppercase, and uppercase, then this one uppercase. Perfect. And we should do the same thing here. And then we should create this function as inside our apps. Now const add more list equal to, we going to have the title in here. Perfect. So now first we need a new ID of the list. First I'm gonna pass this one into this one right here, and then inside our input card it should be structure add more list. Everything should be stay the same. So now we have to do our logic here. Const new list ID is equal to UUID, and then we want to create the list. New list is going to be, if you can see, a list right here is an object that has the list ID and the title and the card here. So for the new list, the card is going to be empty array, and the ID is equal to new list ID, and then the title is going to be title. So now after with this one, we should update our state. It's gonna be equal to data, and then no, I think we should do data is not okay. So if we can see our data here is a list and then the list ID, so which we have to put the list ID inside this one. So for that we do a list ID, and then we're gonna get the previous list ID with our new list ID in here, and then we inside the list here we're going to get the previous list data.list, and then we add our new list ID with our new list, and then we're going to set data equal to new state right here. So now if I click here, let's say doing, when I click enter, now we can see this one is doing, and then we can add a card in here as well. Let's say hello, and we can see it's perfect. Right, great, awesome. So now we finish that new list. Ooh, perfect. Alright, so now I'm gonna commit this one to GitHub. Git add git commit -ns. Ta-da! And finish. Add new list. Then git push. Whew. And to finish up our part 2, we need to do next is to do update list title. Alright, so we want to change this one when we just click and update this one. So for that, list title is going to be here. So first thing first, we have to pass the list title. We're going to pass the list ID. We want to know which list that we want to update. Now we're gonna get list ID, and then I'm going to close some of the input cut here. We already finished, and then encode the title of the list as the input right here. So perfect. So now we have to listen for onChain of the title. OnChain equal to handle onChains, and then the onChains is going to be this one, E, and then what we want is to set the value. So title, and then set title is the use date, and with the value should be null. I think there's some conflict here, so like a new title should be a new title, and then set a new title, and then what we want to pass is here's the title that we get from the previous here. Then we want to change this one, and we get the value into send here. Next, we want to set a new title. It's going to be the e.target.value. Now what we have to do is to do when it's on blur. So we want to change, let's say this one I want to change it to do's. It's just on blur. This one is update. So that's why I can't handle on blur. Handle on blur is going to be equal this one, and I'm gonna cut this one in here. Then we set open to false, and then we're gonna pass this one in here, and then next we will get change update list title, which we're going to get the title in here, a new title, new titles. So for this one, and then we're gonna set this one, so nothing to be set, so we just get a new title. So alright, so now we have to get this one. So this one is the same thing. It's from the context, cont update list equal to use context, and then store API, which we don't have it yet, so we're gonna create it in here. Cont update, I'm gonna give it in here, update list titles, going to be equal to functions, and then we have the title, and then we're gonna pass update the title here, and then we do console.logs title. So for now, let's see if we can see the title or not. If I go here, I click on here, I change, and blur, now we get the title. So we have to do our logic to get this one. So it's going the same thing with the list right here. So first one is going to const list, but we want to know which list, right? So we have to pass the list ID from here as well. I forgot this one. So inside the list, we already passed the list ID to the title, and to the structure here, and then we have to pass it back right here. List ID, and then we're gonna list ID here, kind of list equal to data dot list of the list ID right here, and then we're gonna do list dot title equal to title. Now we already update this one, so we're gonna update into our list data const new state is going to be equal to spread data, and then with the list Then we're going to spread an old list. Then we get a new list here, a list ID with the list right here. And then set data equal to new state. Perfect. Now, if I close this one, I add this one to to-dos chain. Now it's automatically update. If I add another to-do, doing, I add this one, and then I click change it to done. Blur it update. Alright, perfect. So I think we finish this one as well. So then we finish our part 2. And then before doing so, when I click in here, you can see the card here is not perfect. And it's over this one. So alright, for that reasons, I'm going to do some CSS here. Alright, so the list here should be a min width of this one. Min width is not working. I think it's a list, and then the width here is going to be 100 VW. Oh no, I think it's inside our app, not you. So let's see here. How about 100%? Which is strings for this one. So alright, so maybe I will update the CSS later, but for now we finish our part 2. So I'm gonna git add, git commit -ms, tada, then finish, update, list title, git push. Alright, so I think this is it for part 2. See you in part 3.